After 80, life gets real. 5 harsh lessons you must hear. Have you ever sat in a quiet room, not just alone, but truly alone, and felt the years weigh heavier than ever before? Not in your knees or your back, but in your spirit. You glance at a shelf, see an old photo, and feel a sudden ache. That person's gone. That laughter is a memory. And that version of you, the one who used to dance, travel, chase dreams, is somewhere you can't quite reach anymore. The phone doesn't ring like it once did. The mailbox brings fewer letters. And the world outside, it moves too fast, speaks too loud, and rarely stops long enough to notice the wisdom sitting quietly in the corner of the room. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. And no, you're not forgotten. But the truth is, aging after 80 is nothing like what most people expect. It's not always soft sunsets and warm soup. Sometimes it's cold mornings with aching fingers. It's remembering more than you experience. It's outliving more people than you ever thought you would. And it's wondering, quietly, why didn't anyone prepare me for this? This video isn't just for entertainment. It's not about cheerful slogans, silver linings, or pretending these years are always golden. This is a lifeline for anyone navigating the 8th, 9th, or even 10th decade of life. It's a message to those who still get up each morning, even if it hurts, who still want to matter, even if the world seems to have moved on. These are the 5 harsh lessons no one told you, but that everyone over 80 needs to hear. They're not meant to scare you. They're meant to set you free. Because when you finally understand what's happening, when you see that others feel the same way, something powerful happens. You stop hiding the pain, you stop apologizing for aging, and you start reclaiming your dignity, your story, and your sense of peace. So if you've ever felt invisible, forgotten, or uncertain about what's next, this video is for you. If you love someone who's aging and want to understand what they're really going through, stay with us, because these next few minutes might just be the most honest and most important conversation you've heard about growing old. And once you hear it, you'll never look at aging the same way again. Lesson 1. Time doesn't just pass, it speeds. At 80, time doesn't feel the same. It slips through your fingers like water, and you don't even notice until the bucket is nearly empty. When you were young, time moved with weight. Days were full. Moments had texture. One summer could feel like an entire lifetime. But now the weeks vanish before you can catch your breath. The calendar turns, and you hardly notice. Another birthday? Already? Didn't we just have one? And yet, the strangest thing happens. The days themselves feel longer. Not busier, just quieter. Still, you wake up, look around, and the silence seems to echo. The house creaks differently. The phone barely rings. And the evening, once your favorite time of day, now stretches out like an empty road with no destination. But this isn't just a feeling. It's backed by science. As we age, the brain registers fewer new experiences, fewer firsts. And without those new impressions, our internal clock gets confused. It's why a child's day at the park feels eternal, but a retiree's week slips by in a blink. Our perception of time is shaped by novelty, and after 80, the novelty often fades. You don't travel as much. You meet fewer new people. You visit the same rooms, see the same walls, perform the same routines. And so, the brain stops paying attention. It condenses days into memories that feel smaller, shorter. Life begins to blur, and with it, your sense of vitality. There's another reason time speeds up after 80. It's because your world is shrinking. You might not leave the house as often. Friends may have passed, moved away, or stopped visiting. Family gets busy. Your body doesn't cooperate like it used to. So the idea of going out for a bit turns into a challenge. And the smaller your world becomes, the faster the days race by. That's the harsh truth most people never prepare you for. Aging doesn't just slow your body. It accelerates your sense of loss. Your grasp on time weakens. You look back and wonder, where'd the last 5 years go? But here's the message that matters. It's not too late to reclaim time. You can't slow the clock, but you can stretch the moment. You can infuse your day with meaning again. Learn something new, even if it's just a new recipe or a word from another language. Take a walk down a different street. Call someone you haven't spoken to in years. Write a letter. Watch the sunrise on purpose. Break the routine. Because every new experience, no matter how small, helps your brain create new time. It makes a day feel fuller, a week feel longer, and a life feel richer. Yes, time speeds up after 80, but you still hold the power to press pause. Not on the years, but on the moments. And sometimes, that's all we really need. Lesson 2. People start to forget you. This one cuts deeper than most are willing to admit. Because after 80, it's not just the body that starts to fade. It's your place in the world. You begin to feel like a ghost in your own life. Not because you've passed on, but because others have moved on. The world you helped build, the people you loved and supported, the roles you once played, they begin to slip away. You were the matriarch, the grandfather who fixed things, the aunt who always showed up, the neighbor everyone came to for advice. But now, the house is quieter, the calendar emptier, the phone, it rarely rings, and when it does, it's often a robocall or a stranger with the wrong number. At first, you tell yourself it's just a phase. People are busy, things will pick up, but months pass. Holidays come and go, birthdays get missed, and slowly, a new reality creeps in. You're no longer top of mind. You're no longer needed in the same way. And that realization doesn't just sting, it shakes your sense of identity. Because you didn't just enjoy being around others. You mattered to them. You were useful. You were central. You were remembered. And now you feel like you're watching life happen from behind a window. And it's not just others who forget. Sometimes it's you. You walk into a room and forget why. You fumble for a name you've known for years. You miss appointments, misplace the TV remote, lose track of time. It's frustrating, embarrassing, even scary. But the hardest part isn't forgetting. It's being forgotten. Because there's a difference between solitude and invisibility. One is chosen. The other is imposed. And people don't mean to forget you. Life just pulls them forward. Kids grow up. Careers demand attention. Schedules fill with their own chaos. And while they're racing ahead, you're standing still, waving from the shore, hoping someone looks back. Sometimes they do, but often they don't. And that's when it hits. You haven't changed, not in your love, not in your spirit. But somehow, you faded from their story. But here's the thing. Fading is not the same as disappearing. Not if you refuse to let it be. Staying visible in a world that overlooks the elderly is an act of quiet courage. It takes strength to call first, to invite people into your life again, to show up at a family gathering, at a church service, in a garden, or even just in someone's inbox, because you still have stories to share, wisdom to offer, laughter to give, love to receive. Yes, the world forgets, but you can remind it gently, persistently, that you are still here, you are still living, you still matter. And the truth is, the more you show up, the more people remember how much they miss you. So don't shrink into the background. Don't wait for permission to be seen. Take up space again. Call the grandchild. Write the letter. Visit the old friend. Be the reminder in someone's life that love doesn't age. It just waits patiently to be noticed again. Lesson 3. Your body becomes a stranger. After 80, your body stops whispering and starts yelling. Pain becomes familiar. Energy becomes rare. And every small task starts to feel like a mountain. You used to run upstairs. Now you check your balance before you even stand up. Your legs swell. Your hands tremble. You reach for railings, chairs, anything solid. It's humbling, and it can be terrifying. The real heartbreak is not just what you can't do. It's the constant uncertainty. One day your vision is fine. The next it's blurry. One morning you wake up light and mobile. The next, your joints refuse to cooperate. Your body becomes unpredictable. And worst of all, you start to fear it. You fear falls. You fear hospital visits. You fear losing control. That fear builds into anxiety, and that anxiety makes everything harder. Eating, sleeping, even going outside. It's a silent battle. One fought not with weapons, but with will. Lesson 4. Joy becomes a choice. When you're young, joy comes uninvited. A laugh from a child, a good meal, a sunny day. But after 80, joy doesn't show up on its own. You have to seek it, create it, protect it. And that's a lesson no one prepares you for. You may wake up and feel nothing. No excitement, no plans, just hours stretching ahead. That's when it becomes clear. You can't wait for joy to come find you. You have to go after it. In a conversation, in a walk, in a song from decades ago, in a prayer or a memory or a quiet moment with a pet. Joy after 80 isn't loud. It's not fireworks and celebrations. It's the soft moments, the morning coffee, the sound of birds, the way the light hits your window. It's learning to be present, even when the present is filled with aches and quiet. And it's learning to let go of the life you had, so you can embrace the life you still have. Lesson 5. Grief becomes a constant companion. After 80, loss becomes part of your story. You lose friends. You lose family. You lose parts of your health, parts of your independence, parts of your identity. It's not just one moment of grief. It's wave after wave. And yet, this grief is rarely spoken of. People expect you to be okay, to accept it, to move on. But how do you move on when the people you shared your life with are gone? How do you wake up with the same spirit when your world has changed so much? The answer is slowly and with kindness to yourself. Grief doesn't end, it softens, but only if you allow yourself to feel it, to cry, to talk, to remember. Pushing it down doesn't make it go away. It just makes it heavier. And here's the most powerful truth. The more grief you carry, the more love you've lived. Grief is proof that something mattered, that someone mattered. And even in sadness, there's a kind of beauty in that. Final thoughts. This is not the end. If you're in your 80s or love someone who is, know this. The harsh truths of aging are real, but they're not the whole story. Yes, life gets harder. Yes, you lose things, but you also gain perspective. You gain appreciation. You gain a kind of wisdom that only time can teach. You don't have to pretend that aging is easy. It's not, but you can choose to face it with open eyes, an open heart, and a willingness to keep showing up, keep loving, keep laughing, keep learning. After 80, life gets real. But real doesn't mean hopeless. Real means honest. And honest is where true peace begins. So what now? Maybe you reach out to someone today. Maybe you pick up an old hobby. Maybe you simply sit in the sun and breathe. But whatever you do, know this, you still matter. Your story still matters. And your life, no matter how quiet it may seem, is still filled with purpose. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And thank you for living a life that brought you this far. Let's keep going, together,